Hello. Ooh, I like that. That's nice. Oh, yeah. Good after. Good afternoon. Let me find it. Good afternoon. Okay, there we go. So, good afternoon, everybody. First off, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to the brothers and sisters from Project Save Our Sons and Daughters for inviting me out to speak. I've been in the Binghamton community now, in August will be 11 years. I came up here as a student. I went to BU. I spent a little too much time downtown, and I finally got out and I stayed because something about Binghamton felt like home. So it's awkward for me right now because I don't view my home in a negative light, but I know negative things can happen in my home. Some of us understand this very well. And so, this morning I woke up and a friend of mine, no one can find her right now. And they're very worried that she may harm herself. So it's funny to me that we're speaking about violence, and to piggyback off what so many of these brilliant people have said already, violence comes in so many different forms. So before I really get into what I want to say to you, I'm going to read this definition of violence. According to Merriam-Webster, violence can be the use of physical force so as to injure, abuse, damage, or destroy. Injury, by or as if by distortion, infringement, or profanation. Intense, turbulent, or furious and often destructive action or force. Violence. So, if we're going to stop violence, we have to look at violence in all its forms. If I tell my child they cannot achieve something, that is violence. If I tell my intimate partner what they can or cannot do, that is violence. If I am put in charge of people and I tell my constituents they do not matter, that is violence. If I knowingly create a system in which select people are deemed invaluable, disposable, and easy to be destroyed, that is violence. So how do we stop violence? We stop violence by not being isolated, like the brother said. The other day, I met the brothers from Project Save Our Sons and Daughters, and I brought up an experiment. It's a psychology experiment. It's called Rat Park. So a psychologist said we need to test drugs and addiction patterns of behavior. So they put rats in a cage and they gave them regular water and water with drugs. And the rats drank all the waters with the drugs until they died. So another scientist saw this experiment and said, I don't like that outcome. I feel your variables are wrong. So he created a park that had everything a rat could ever want. Food, water, other rats, toys, everything. And he put the rats in it, same as before, with the water, clean water, drug water. No rats touched the drug water. Because see, it's not us, it's the cage. It's the cage. Because human beings don't live in cages. We are not meant to be isolated and alone from each other. We are meant to be together, to support, to speak to each other. Think about this. All of us know millions of community organizers and organizations, but very seldom do we share and pool our resources because we've been split apart and divided through violence, through economic violence, through state-sanctioned violence, through social violence. Because if I tell you I only got $10,000 and you need 9, but they need 5, why can't we find that remainder? Why is it that I have to destroy and tear down my brother so I can do something when we cannot build together? If I say well, you'll succeed in this class if I eliminate this person and send them to go sit in ISC, or to go right down the street and get a worksheet, or play on the computer for an hour so you can have your education at the sacrifice of that person's education. That's violence. If I say the only way I can run this city is by tearing down another man who only wants to see this city progress, instead of saying, you know what, win, lose, or draw, if you have good ideas, I like them, then I'm being violent. Yeah, that was a sub. I don't care. Man down. Because you know what? We have been perpetually in a state of violence in this community. Whether it be through narratives calling our children animals and criminals, whether it be narratives saying everyone is poor and on DSS instead of saying everyone needs support and help and better jobs, whether it's a narrative that, oh yeah, everyone's just a drug dealer and a drug addict. No, that is not true. Let's talk about the fact that we are not providing mental health services, correct rehabilitation services, correct training on how to deal with drug influences. Because see, a wise man once said, it is easier to raise strong children than fix broken men. But if I strategically destroy your children before they've had the chance to even been invested in, and I sit as an adult in a room full of people and refuse to stand for those children, I am violent. So, I'm gonna go back, since I used the definition, to a wise person, Malcolm X. He said, violence. I'm not violent, but I ain't no fool neither. So if you are violent towards me, I will defend myself. So you know what? Since we're dealing with all these different levels of violence, here's how we defend ourselves. We come together and form up on our own. We make ourselves present in the schools, in the school boards, in the city councils, I don't care if we're talking about garbage collection. We need to be there. We need to register. We need to go out and join these neighborhood assemblies. Because if 5 people is making the decisions for 500, guess what? We're suffering because nobody knows what we're dealing with. So, we got an election coming up. I ain't gonna tell you who to vote for or how to use your vote, but know that your vote is power, your vote is leverage. And some of y'all live in communities where if you got all your neighbors registered, mobilized, and ready to go, you could control every single cent. Every single cent that moves through this town. Not a developer, not an institution, but the people. So, with that said, thank you again to Project Saves Our Sons and Daughters. Because this is the people saying we're going to do for us. Thank you again to everyone who came out this beautiful Saturday and walked down that street with their head held high and say, I am here for peace. I am here for better. And I am here for change. And thank you to everyone who continues to fight for the people. Have a good one.